Live. Welcome everybody from the entire planet Earth. We have a special episode for you today. CM and I are having on the rock star Wolfie hype man from Twitter. We're so excited to have you, man. Thank you very much for coming to the show. We're so excited to talk everything about the future of KASPA. What do you think about it? Everything that you know, you're going to spill everything for our viewers, our audience. They want to know everything that you know, and of course, we want to know everything. And every now and then, we're going to give you a pushback with chart stuff and everything. But hey, let's start by maybe introduce yourself just a little bit for our audience, and then we're gonna continue from there with if you knew us from before and stuff like that. So I'm giving you the microphone.
Sure. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for the invite. I've been checking you guys out online for several months now. And I know our community retweets you guys' shows and stuff and posts them up in Telegram. It gives you some good action and feedback and some props. So yeah, my name is Wolfie. I'm in Southern California. I'm older than you guys. And I've been involved in technology for a long time. You know, I started out, my first computer was 1981. It had 5 1/4 inch floppy disks, no hard drive. The RAM was less than a watch RAM. Like even a watch from 20 years ago had more RAM than my first computer, you know? So I've always been in geekish stuff. You know, that was part of my thing I was into, you know? And one of those geek things led me to playing video games and then playing video games online. So I was playing World of Warcraft online for several years when it was hot, you know, and raiding and trying to kill bosses. And some kid in the game in 2011 tells me like, hey man, when you shut off the game at the end of the night, do you use the video card to mine Bitcoin? And I go, Bitcoin? What the hell is Bitcoin? He goes, it's like Warcraft Gold, except you can send it to anyone outside of the game, anyone on the internet. I'm like, how does that work? He's like, just go to Bitcoin Talk, look for the miner thing, and then just run it and make a wallet. It's really easy. So I started mining Bitcoin in 2011. I didn't understand it at all, you know, and then the difficulty went up. In the beginning, I was getting 1 Bitcoin every 5 days with a just
man. See, we got an OG online and we didn't even know you were such an OG, man. I'm loving it. All right, keep going.
But I learned the hard way, foolish mistake, OG. So after about maybe 5 or 6 weeks of this going on, the difficulty went up. I was only getting half a Bitcoin like every 10 days. And the thing's like heating up my house. And I'm like, dude, I'm probably losing like $5 of electric a week on this. This is stupid, man. It was a cool idea, you know, but it's just a fact. It's not going to make it. So I shut it, you know. So
for sure.
Then I always had the chart on my Chrome. I had a Bitcoin price chart, and I would click it like every 6 or 9 months and say, oh, whoa, it wasn't a fad. You know, when I saw it was $100, I found my wallet and I sold them for $100 each. I'm like, hey, I need rent money. This is great.
I get that.
And then in 2017, I saw it was like $2,000, and I go, all right, this was not a fad, bro. This is a real ride, dude. I got to get on this train somehow. I was fortunate in just like street smarts or hunch instinct to go like, dude, the Bitcoin thing, you started over here and it's stretched. It's a big tree already. You don't have enough to get on. You don't have enough means and money to get in on the $2,000 tree to keep going on that ride. You got to look on the ground for little acorns that didn't pop yet that nobody knows about and grab a bunch before anybody knows, you know? And that's what I did. I started on a mission in 2017 to look for the perfect acorns. And I found some along the way. I made a lot of mistakes. Some went to zero. But then in 2021, I saw KASPA. And I explained this to Mr. Y, the founder of KASPA, Jonathan Sompolinski. I told him face-to-face at dinner once in Australia when we first met in person. I said, yup. I was like a hunter waiting in the blinds. You know, you wait for something to come. And I saw after 5 years, KASPA coming along, and I went and fucking
sharpshooted it.
Yeah. And so that's what I did. Shortly,
oh my God! 1 second. You met Mr. Jonathan, man, live?
Oh, yeah. Multiple times.
Did you shook his hand, man?
I did.
Oh my God!
I met his parents.
Oh my God, man!
Yeah. I met his mama. his mama is a very sweet woman, and she's born in New York City, just like myself. I met the dad. The dad's a brilliant, unbelievable genius, you know. And I thanked his dad. I said, "Thank you for having such a brilliant son." And quite humbly, he replied to me. He said, "He's brilliant despite me, not because of me." You know. So yeah,
That's an awesome dad.
people.
That's an
Yeah,
awesome dad.
yeah. So that's my.
So I'm going to recap this, Wolfie, because I need to make sure. All right. So you were very early on Bitcoin, managed it the way you managed, some successes, but you learned from it, and you were waiting for the next time you believed something like Bitcoin is going to pop out, and
Sure.
you were very early on KASPA, right? Like extremely early. You said something like in the realm of 2 weeks since inception or something like that.
That's right. Yeah. So I have a pal that I've mined a lot of different coins, little privacy coins, little ones that went to zero. And we would just bounce back and forth in Telegram, like, hey, look at this one. Let's try this one. Oh, yeah. And talk about the settings and the different coins. And then he messaged me on, I think, November 24th or November 25th, 2021. That was the day or the day after KASPA restarted the mainnet. So KASPA started on November 7th, 2021. I believe that was an all-time high for Bitcoin. They started on that day, and the network went for like 2 weeks, and they had a critical error that froze the network, and they need to go back, fix the bug, and then restart the network. So I found it pretty much the day or the day after the network was restarted.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And you know, let's pause that for just a second. We're gonna get back to everything how you got on the boat because I'm interested. I'm interested about something else also. And this is how we're gonna connect ourselves. You know, we were told by some people we must have you on board on a live show. And of course, we already talked about this in the past, so you know we engaged. But I'm curious about before we engaged together in the past, let's say a month or so, did you hear about us? Because in the past, not the Casper community didn't necessarily like us. Let's just say by that.
Sure. Yeah, no, that's totally fair. So when things take on like a cult-like following, whether it's valid or not, we've seen like cult-like followings for things that turned out to be bad, like a scam or not, or like real breakthroughs in technology that I believe and many others do that KASPA is, and it's something special. But I saw you guys, somebody posted CM here, and I thought, okay, that one of the things I do at night is after dinner, put on YouTube for 20 minutes, catch a little macro stuff, a little global news, and a little crypto stuff. And so if I click on a link in the daytime from Telegram, then it's there in my history. And oh yeah, I wanted to watch that one. I only run it for 5 seconds in the day, and then I go in, and I see CM there, Mr. CM, and CM, I could
the K with the pizza, the K on the pizza.
So first thing off, I go, okay, this guy's kind of twitchy and like high frequency. So I like that. I like my chick. Like I'm not in how I speak generally, speaking too fast, and Mr. CM is, which I appreciate that. But in the car, I'm always checking the dials. My chick is always next to me. You twitchy rabbit, what you doing? I'm set this. Okay, AC up a little bit. Okay, change this and zoom in on the navigation. Change the radio. I'm always dialing in everything. So his fastness and his speed, I like that. I connected with that instantly. But their CM was in the beginning when I caught him like 4 or 5 months ago. He was seemingly, I couldn't tell if this guy's saying like, dude, it's on a downtrend and it may never stop. It could be going to zero. I was like, wait a minute, this guy kind of might be the enemy. He's kind of cool, but I don't know if I like him that much. But then as I watched every couple of weeks, and then all of a sudden he started kind of planing off and going like, look, man, it could have one more bounce down here. We had the wick down to a penny that, and so it could come down a little bit, Then he started getting more positive that it doesn't matter if it goes down momentarily or not, relatively speaking, for a month or two down or 3 months down. And then, but he got more like, dude, it's going up sooner or later. That's when I go, this is my boy. I like this guy.
All right.
Yeah.
For sure.
Also,
yes.
CM, let me tell you guys something. I know you guys aren't big on the tech, but we had just mentioned Mr. Y, right? And then we were talking about being high frequency and stuff. Do you know why KASPA is 6,000 times faster than Bitcoin? It's because Mr. Jonathan Sampolinsky is also twitchy and highly, highly impatient. He could not stand waiting 10 minutes for a transaction to happen on Bitcoin. That's why he put in work for all of the teams. From 2013, he wrote the Ghost protocol. So his first try at speeding up a blockchain was Ghost, which is used in Ethereum. That's why Ethereum has a 12-second block time. At the time when Ethereum came out, 12 seconds was really fast. And it's because of Mr. Y's first try at speeding something up, a blockchain, you know, and since 2013, he's been ripping it to make it way faster than 12 seconds, you know. So that guy is impatient also, and that characteristic of his personality trait led to KASPA being super fast, which is cool.
You know, it's funny. I looked at his Twitter account, and he doesn't even mention that he's the founder of KASPA on his Twitter account for some reason. Why is that?
You know, I'm not sure, but he's like an academic, and he's very humble. He's more wanting to be not directing attention or attracting attention to himself, but rather his works, you know, and not like his works like, look, I'm an OG, I did this and that, but like he mostly talks about technical stuff and opinions on like deep issues of the technology and things like that, from what I've seen.
Got it. All right, this is interesting. This is very interesting. I get what you're saying. CM, you have anything you want to add here? Because you got some love over here from Mr. Wolfie, man.
Oh, yeah, man. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching my content. Look, I said it went to zero. I don't think it's. I really meant. I
You exaggerated, maybe.
No, you know, when I'm saying it's going to zero, you know, when it's like breaking bearish for me, it's just a saying. It's not really going to zero. It's just there is the risk it's going to collapse now, you know, 80-90%. For me, 80-90% drop is like going to zero. Then it will park there and will start a bull market. Now,
sure, that's fair.
I have a question for you, Mr. Tech. You're more in the tech. So I want to know what makes KASPA superior other than the fastness of the transactions. What makes KASPA blockchain really appealing to you? What do you think? Like, are they gonna implement AI? Are they gonna do DeFi? What are they doing? Like, are they gonna do smart contract? The last cycle they were talking about the KRC. What's going on over there, man? Like,
what's the new narrative? What's the catalyst? What's the catalyst?
I got you. So the most prominent feature of KASPA that's really a standout and a breakthrough in the technology of blockchain or distributed computing overall is the idea of parallel blocks, like having more than one block at the same time. So I'm sure by now anybody who goes on Twitter even once a month has seen that block DAG, the blocks going by with the lines connecting them. You guys saw that, right?
I saw it.
yeah. You know, so that's the structure. That's what KASPA's network looks like in real time. So if you think of granddaddy orange Bitcoin is just a straight line with one dot every 10 minutes. Very slow and very simple and safe, which is fine. It came out in 2009, so it's perfect for then, you know. KASPA has 10 blocks every second on average. So the idea of having more than one block at the same time, yet they're still ordered sequentially or serially in consensus. So it's like Bitcoin has one block every 10 minutes. KASPA has 10 blocks every second. It's like a blockchain that's squeezed down like an accordion into. They're still ordered in a row, so that people always wonder when they see 10 blocks next to each other, if the same transactions in two of these blocks of these 10 or more, how do you know which one's valid? The answer is because they're still ordered sequentially. They're still numbered, even if some happen at the same time. So that's the breakthrough of it. And then conversely, like you guys have cars, right? Cars that have computers from the last 20 years. You ever have some stupid like check engine light and the thing goes in limp mode? And, you know, like it only goes 40 miles an hour, just enough to get to the gas station, but it's not really running great. It's on like lame version, right? Yeah, experience that. So really what it turns out is the most perfect work, the most perfect protocol to have a distributed computing system is a block DAG. So that pattern with the simultaneous blocks is the most perfect way you can do it. There's no extra new perfect way that can ever come out. And furthermore, if you GIMP it or you limp mode a ghost DAG, a block DAG, and only let it be one block at a time, it turns into Bitcoin. So in essence, a blockchain, the overly used buzzword that's been the only way of doing it since Bitcoin came out in 2009, a blockchain is a gimped block DAG. So when you make a block DAG be slow on purpose and less useful, it turns into a blockchain. That is to say that every other blockchain is less advanced than KASPA.
Wolfie, I have a question. Okay. So we understand KASPA is the fastest, the Ferrari of crypto. Okay. Now, are there any other protocols that are fast as KASPA or less fast than KASPA, but much faster than Bitcoin? And also, what else does it bring to the table other than maybe scalability or fast? I'm not really understand this stuff, but what else are they going for? Like, institutional investors, do they gather, do they do some stuff to actually get liquidity into the project, like real liquidity? Because me and Jomo here, we believe in supply and demand. In money coming in, the price go up. Okay, the tech, we call it the schmeck because you cannot base anything on the tech. Obviously KASPA is wonderful tech, but it doesn't change the fact that it is in a bear market now. Yeah, you understand? So where is I'm looking for why KASPA will have a shock of like supply, like will be a lot of people wanting to buy the KASPA. Like how can KASPA create the next boom, the next I want a parabolic bull run, a sustained, just like it had in 2022 and 2023. I want something like that. I don't want a pump and dump. You understand? I want something that is sustainable and it's just going like Bitcoin. Okay, so what do you think? What do you think is going to happen? What's going to pull KASPA to another long-term bull market?
Sure. So let's split it into two little sections here. So you're absolutely right. So first, let's talk about the tech, because this gives us one possible avenue to get us that liquidity and that like sustained like blue chip status where it has new all-time highs kind of forever, or at least until we care, like for a good time, right? For a long time. So proof of work, you guys know that, right? That's mineable. We were talking about that in the beginning. I only know about it because I started in 2011 with Bitcoin. So we know these guys. There's some Bitcoin maxis, and then there's also like POW maxis, proof of work maxis. So to real crypto enthusiasts, generally speaking, the only real crypto is proof of work coins that were mined. Now we've recently seen in the last like year or so, maybe Zcash was like a flat line for like 8 years or something, and all of a sudden, pow, it's $750, right? That's because a bunch of people got together and like, look, this is proof of work. It's kind of cool, and it has a privacy narrative. Let's get a pile together. Let's organize and market and like whoop whoop, and that's what happened with that one. So there's a finite number of coins like in the top 200 or 300 lists that really could be categorized as like real fair launch proof of work, so that's a big part of it. So this may happen, and it's already happening to some extent for KASPA, and we see this. There's a potential. Like, have you guys seen the BitGo news? The BitGo findings about that. So if you're not familiar with BitGo, they're a highly highly top. They're like a tier 1 of institutional custody. So when you or me buy coins, we can keep them on the phone, we can keep them on the ledger, we can keep them on the tangent, right? We keep them on the exchange. When big piles of money like pension funds, different things, ETFs want to hold coins for like other people, they can't just keep a wallet. They can't have like the IT guy has the wallet on his laptop for $180 million worth or $2 billion worth of Ethereum. It's on the IT guy's laptop. That's not how they do it. They're by law, by the charter of the pension fund or whatever it is, they have to keep it somewhere that's proved and guaranteed, regulated, safe. So BitGo is just such an institution, and it was discovered by the community within the last week or two that BitGo has begun and is actively implementing, and I believe it's pretty much done, to add KASPA to BitGo institutional holding capability. So,
What?
yeah, BitGo, BITGO.
No
Yeah.
way, man. No way.
Yeah, it's all over Twitter. It's been all over it for
Tell me, why? How come? How come KASPA is not at the moment on like the spot exchanges, the big one like Coinbase, like OKX, like
Sure.
Binance? Why it's not on spot? Does Jonathan don't want them to get access? What is the whole thing?
So no, it's nothing like that. So I volunteer. It says DIRBD under my name. That's a self-imposed title, but I've been volunteering as director of business development. Since there's no corporation behind KASPA, then somebody needs to volunteer and do the work for free. So basically, I work for free to pump my own bags. That's what's going on with that. So since about 4.5 years or 4.5 years, I've been contacting exchanges, mining pools, and wallets and things like that, and trying to get them to do the dance and add KASPA. So any platform where you see all the big boys, Solana, Hyperliquid, ETH, Bitcoin, I want to see KASPA right next to all of the big dogs. You know what I mean? On the front porch, barking, woof woof. And so that's what I've been doing. So now in the bottom of the ladder, it's easy. On the middle of the ladder, it's pretty easy. But as you get towards that top of the ladder, towards Coinbase, OKX, Binance, they act much more mysteriously. They have real business model. They need to make sure that their time done doing the work and adding KASPA to their servers, they're going to really make some money off it, because they make a lot of money doing a lot of other things. So including, unfortunately, in this space, we have tokens that come out of thin air, and they can just give 5 or 10% to these guys, and they can just list it and sell into the pump, and they can make a lot of money. So these guys, it has to make business sense for them. Some of our younger community members don't. They think like Coinbase or Binance, they're like in the favor business, like, come on, you guys, don't you recognize KASPA's #1 tech? Come on, we have a great community. That doesn't really, for a business, that's not really what they're looking for. They're looking to make money. That's what businesses do. So, the trading fees would be something, but they want other stuff usually. So my conversations with them usually led down that path, like what's in it for us, basically. So there's conspiracy theories that there's other things like Binance has BNB chain and they know KASPA is competition for it, so they don't want to list the competition. Like, who knows?
But I'll tell you, the all these exchanges like Binance, you can long short KASPA on Binance. You can long KASPA on pretty much all futures exchanges, which is legendary. I trade KASPA mainly with futures.
Yeah.
But tell me, are you planning to sell at some point, or you just holding for life, for your dear life?
No. Yeah. There's there's some scale out opportunities, and in the run up a couple of summers ago, I bought some shiny objects. You know what I mean? But generally speaking, I tend to hold out for a substantial market appreciation. I believe if Cardano could be $3 and XRP could be $3 or $4 with 3 or 4 times more supply, and it's just a stupid blockchain that either does absolutely nothing or it's completely controlled by servers of a fucking corporation, there's no reason KASPA can't at least be $1 goddamn dollar. That's what I think. So, let's see what happens.
That can definitely happen. And by the way, sorry guys, I need to go because I had some issues in the house. Do you wanna ask something, Sim? I wanted to go some. You hear me?
That's all right. One second, one second. So, what's your price prediction for KASPA? Let's give price predictions, then go over the comment. Okay, so price prediction for KASPA for the upcoming bull market. And are you thinking, do you think the KASPA just bottom out? Now we bottom out. Do you think we bottom, or you think we have more way down before the reversal?
Sure, sure. That's two great and fair questions. Let's start with the low number stuff. So I would tend to think any person holder that was really scared or needed the money or lost faith had sold already since February. When we've been ranging from 3.5 or something, maybe up to 4, down to 2.5. So that was months and months and months. So the time pain, like they've been mentioning lately in crypto overall, the time pain was pretty long. Anybody, I think, that was just over it, or wanted to jump on something else like Sui or something, or a meme, already did. So I wouldn't think, unless there's some crazy black swan thing like super war escalation and inflation's flying and then some giant macro thing, maybe it could go to 1.50 or 1.8 or something. That would be not a KASPA only event, though. That would be bringing Bitcoin down to 40 like everyone's talking about, and ETH is a grand, $1,000 or 1,200 or something, and everybody's really taking it bad for a couple of weeks or something like that. So I would say generally, as long as nothing crazy happens, I would tend to think the bottom was in myself. And then on the upside, like I said, and also going back a teeny bit to our talks about the proof of work coins and what real crypto is. My learnings and my street hunch, what I've deduced since 2011, is that real crypto happens and follows the rule of the jungle, which is whatever you catch, you keep, right? So things like XRP and these ones that come out from corporations and they run on validator nodes that the corporation controls, to me, that's not fucking crypto. That's like an Amazon gift card. There's no real difference. If you lose your Amazon gift card, you can call Amazon, hey, I lost my card. Can you cancel it and issue me a new one? Like, that doesn't happen with Bitcoin. That doesn't happen with KASPA. It doesn't happen with Litecoin. It doesn't happen with Zcash. But it's possible if the right entity goes to some of these fast validator node places, they can shut addresses off. It just happened to Iran. You know what I mean? So I've never been like an aggro type of outlaw, but I've never loved authority too much for most of my life, So I don't like the idea that whoever the they is, I don't like them telling me how fast I can go. I don't like them coming to my house and taking my computers and my cell phones that I've heard happens to people because they had something to do with crypto in some part of the world, and I don't like them being able to shut off my address of my crypto, So therefore, I would never really have too much of anything that wasn't a proof of work coin. So anyway, like I said, XRP, 45 billion in existence, I think. Every time there's a pump, the foundation wallet dumps into it, right? And they've been $3.5, $4 XRP. Cardano has, I think, at least twice as much as KASPA. What do they have? 40 billion out, or I don't know, 45 billion, and they've been $3.50. So if there's this never seen anything like it alt season and everything goes bonkers and Bitcoin hits like 280, 350,000 and ETH goes to 15,000, 20,000, I would see no reason why KASPA can't be 250, 350, $2, $3, something like that.
Let's fucking go.
Yeah, that would be awesome for sure. That would be awesome for sure. We talked briefly before the episode, and you shared with me a chart. I want to share it right now. We all like charts over here. We are the chart guys, as you know, but not only chart guys, because we know market nuances also. That's part of our unique, I think, identity. But this is a chart that you shared with me, right? That you have created. Maybe you go over it a little bit and tell me what is your thesis based on this chart.
Sure. So if we start, KASPA, this is 5 years, and if you look at the bottom left, that's pretty much was when KASPA was born, right? So that day happened to be KASPA launched on November 7th, 2021, which was also an all-time high for Bitcoin. And if you see that top curvy line that goes down and then it swoops down, that's the Fed balance sheet, right? So that's like yeah, that's like the money printer on or the money printer off, and not just off. So that's like quantitative tightening starting. So we all remember COVID, and in the United States, even if you don't live here, you heard about stimulus checks, right? Stimulus checks and free money. Like, so in my simple understanding and my experience, I always make simple analogies just to wrap my head around bigger stuff that I don't know all the details of. But like, if you ever play the box game Monopoly, most people know that game Monopoly. You open the box, there's a board game, it's a board game, and there's paper money in there, and you know, you start playing and some guy has most of the money and then he's rich, and then some other kid goes, hey, let's open another game box and take more paper money and give it out so everyone is rich. So that's what basically happened in COVID. There was way too much paper money in there, and people were buying all kinds of shit. The line outside like the Louis Vuitton store was like a block long because people who have no business buying a $5,000 purse were buying $5,000 purses, you know? And then once it got out of hand, they had to start taking money, Monopoly money off the board game and stuffing it back in the boxes. And that's what quantitative tightening is. So if you see that Fed balance sheet, that's all the paper money getting stuffed back in the box. So when that happens, paper money becomes more scarce and people actually want it, even though it's still worth nothing by our debasement standards, right? Of the fiat is a joke, right? But anyway, yeah. So usually when that happens, when they're taking money out of the game, people want to cling on to money. Loan, you know, interest rates go up, and then people sell stuff like Bitcoin and KASPA and Ethereum. And so pretty much KASPA's whole life cycle, they've been putting money back in the box and making risk on assets less desirable. Okay. Then we have a few other things in there. There's that the brown line at the top, I think, is the copper gold ratio. So when it's been going down, now it's finally coming up, right? You see there. So that's just the ratio of what's the value of copper compared to gold. So when copper is valuable, it's because they're building lots of stuff like AI infrastructure and cars and houses and stuff. So that means the business cycle is expanding, the economy is getting safer, and gold, it may be going down a little because gold is like a fear-based thing. So like when there's uncertainty, people buy gold, and when things look pretty smooth sailing, they sell the gold. They don't care about it that much because they're not that afraid. Then we have the fear and greed index. That's starting on the bottom, it's red, and then it turns green. So that's the only one that changes color throughout the thing. So if you see the two green peaks over here, right around
the
middle.
I'm sorry to interfere, but you know, this is bad for me because I'm color blinded, so I'm going blind here. I don't know what it's
Sorry, man. Sorry.
No
yeah,
worries,
so
no worries.
If you look at the little X, it almost looks like a skull and crossbones in between the two top. Right in the middle, there's a little hand-drawn thing. Yeah, right there. That was the KASPA all-time high. So in my estimation, what basically happened is starting out on the bottom left, we rode the fear and greed index up. We had a huge GPU miner base that came over to us because Ethereum went to proof of stake right when KASPA was almost 1 year old. We got all these Ethereum guys that came on and started mining KASPA, loving the tech, like nerd guys, geek miners, and our price ran up to about 20 cents there. And then we caught up. We were in the top 100, and we caught the top there. And then we had a big correction for the last 2 years, like we saw. Now, if you go to the bottom right, you can see finally that Fed balance sheet's just starting to bottom out and start heading up. Fear and greed is just recovered. The inverted dollar, the inverted Dixie is going up, and everything's looking on the upswing in the macro for KASPA and the market overall to recover. And that's what we just started to see. Hopefully this is the beginning of a real reversal.
Very interesting, man. Very interesting. Yeah,
Thanks.
macro, I kind of agree. You know, the funny thing about what happened in 2021 is that what you said, it was helicopter money, right? Everyone and the mother, you know, just received money poured into the house. Everyone was locked down. So easy money environment. No one had nothing to do. They had more money than ever, so they just put it. The GME stock explosion. Everyone knows about that saga, right? I just watched the movie. There's a movie in Netflix called Dumb Money. It's
Yeah,
about that saga. Very, very. I don't know if you need 2 hours to pass, go watch that movie. It's very funny. Um, and this cycle, all right, this past cycle from 2023 to 2025, as you portrayed, was a cycle without any liquidity, almost outstanding. All right.
sure.
Now, so what basically you're saying over here is that KASPA has done what it did without any liquidity almost. What can happen, that's like a thesis. If liquidity, Fed liquidity, world liquidity is going to expand somewhat of like what happened back in 2020, 2021. That's basically what you're trying to say over here, right?
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. And it doesn't need to be COVID. It doesn't have to be a virus or anything this time.
No, for
It can
sure, for sure.
simply be the fact, in general, it's not a secret. All over Twitter, some of the largest accounts that are decently credible, I believe next year, 2027, the U.S. government has to roll over approximately $9 trillion of debt. So that's like having a credit card that's maxed out, and you have to put it on a new credit card because the old one's about to crumble. So the only way out of that, they say, is the money printer has to come on in some way, some form, and plus there's a lot of other stuff. Like the war, we shot off all our
For
missiles.
sure.
We got to start paying for stuff, or we got to
Yeah.
keep paying for everything regular and pay for new stuff too. So
Yeah.
when that happens, people should flee from cash into scarce assets like Bitcoin.
I can add to that fire, by the way, because I don't know if you know, recently what happened is that there was a big sell-off in the DXY, right? You're saying that the inverse Dixie is going up. It's because the real DXY is going down.
Sure.
What happened is that countries like South Korea and Japan started selling the dollar, right?
Mhm.
Now, Uncle Sam, which is your country, doesn't like anyone just manipulating the dollar like that. So they came into a deal where they don't sell dollars. They don't sell bonds, but they will do somewhat of a loan. Like it's called the repo loan. I don't know a lot about it.
Sure.
We're humble. I'm not a smart dude. I'm just street smart. Something, maybe like yourself.
Mhm.
Basically, what that means is that they're going to print. They need to print, and not only because they need to, as you said, to bring to repay, let's call it, all the debt they have, but they need to pay even more because they want to make sure that the debt is not sold by other countries, and then it will flood the market and it will just be a shit show. Someday will happen and it's going to be a shit show, but until then, the party, someone needs to keep on the singing. So that's what's happening somewhat right now, behind the scenes. So I'm right on with you about that. Now, I have a dilemma over here. Not a dilemma, but a question, right? You said something about Zcash earlier, right? And by the way, I saw that Jonathan, he talked about Zcash also. Um, Now I'm gonna share something. Okay, this
Yeah.
is this is the Zcash current chart. Okay, this is Zcash chart.
Hmm.
It's going bananas. Okay. By the way, this is an open position that CM and I have. Just a disclaimer.
All it.
So it's almost at all time high. If I will go to the chart, like the real long term chart of Zcash, because this is an old dog, an old daddy, right?
It
If
is.
I'll go to
Didn't
the
they start
long,
at
long,
4K or something?
sorry.
I think if you look at the all-time chart, they started at like $4,000. Didn't they open at $4,000 or
Oh
something?
yeah, I discount the first days over here because it was like a first day, but
Yeah.
so for me, right? I'm
Oh
realistic. This
yeah.
is
Okay. I
just
see the
this is
the, the
this is
reasonable
baloney.
all-time high. You're
The
you're right.
reasonable all-time high. We are right on it, right? From 2000 and basically the end of 2017, right? By the way, 2017 was my first market,
Nice.
So I was living through this, and now we're getting there, right? So you see this looks strong, this looks powerful, this looks amazing, right? And you're talk to me, talk to our audience, talk to CM. And on the other hand, we have KASPA. We love KASPA, by the way. We're gonna say it again and again. We think KASPA has something different. We stated this multiple times, you heard about it, but
Yeah.
KASPA is teeny weeny over here.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I understand some people are going to say, look for the value, right? Look for a coin in the dumpster. But when I am, and CM and I were quite good, price action traders, this shows strength. What are you seeing over here? And what convinces you that KASPA is still stronger than Zcash, for example?
Sure. So this is these guys, it has a good narrative. It's the private Bitcoin. You have people like the Winklevoss twins, you know who that is, right?
Yeah.
The Gemini guys, that they're saying it's magic and stuff like that, and it has a good recent price trajectory that makes a lot of people feel safe investing more, right? So that's fair, and it's probably not a bad bet whatsoever. The thing is, I think it's like number 9 already or 10. I don't know.
It's big. Yeah, it's big. Yeah.
Yeah, it's big, right? So for it to do a 10x is, if you're looking at a trade, you guys are traders. I don't trade myself. So for you guys, you can ride it up to, $1,600 and jump off when you think the elevator might be going down, or 3,200, whatever it is. I don't do that myself. I don't open trades at all. I buy a pile and I just see what happens and try to help it go big over time. But anyway, for it to do a 10x, and what would that mean? That would mean like $8,500 Zcash, right? It's not impossible, but everything would really have to, it would have to be an alt season like we've never seen before. It would have to be a pretty big deal, which we hope it happens, right? And I wish you guys the best, and Zcash. Mr. Y is friends with Zuko, the founder of that. They've hung out before a long, long time ago in the 2010s. But it's easier for KASPA, in my opinion, to do a 10x. That's like just going to 25 or 30 cents.
Absolutely.
KASPA's already 20. It's not a brain, 20 in a fucking macro bear trend when it's not even on a tier 1. It's not too crazy, and it's gotten 10 times faster since then. We now have tokens and various, not exactly smart contracts, but a new style of stuff you can do with it. It's not a simple just go from this address to that address anymore. We can do a lot of tricks with KASPA now, and they're only getting better. So I would say, for me, I'd rather have the one that didn't go yet. KASPA didn't go yet. Zcash.
Do you have other coins, or you just all in on KASPA?
I have other, things you never heard of, and little teeny ones. I started working, not working, but I started. There's a machine you can see in the back right here. There's just like a gamer looking machine with a big GPU in there. That's this other project called Crynux, Crynux. It's not even really on any exchanges yet, but it's like an underdog AI only play. So basically, you run the node with the big video card there, and then people can submit AI tasks, and it does the AI job, and then you get paid in the little token. So it would be something like, I don't know the other ones. There's Render, and there's a few AI things, but AI is a big deal, and I thought it would be neat to have this one just in case. It's like nobody ever heard of it. The mainnet just started like 2 months ago. So it's a promising little one. I always look for the ones that nobody knows about and just try to get a little pile and try to help in some way. They elected me to be the member, a DAO member or something recently. And so that kind of thing. But I don't have like a pile of ETH, a pile of Solana, a pile of Sui, a pile of, memes or anything like that. None of that stuff.
You fall in love with the project and you go with it hand by hand.
Yeah.
I love it.
So we know that's a cardinal rule to not do falling in love with a project. So, but on the other hand, it's part of my life. I've been around the world with these guys. I come to my office every day, 7 days a week, and I talk about KASPA on Twitter. I check in with the developers. I check in with the community. I help moderate the rooms, on Telegram, make sure there's no spam, make sure nobody's talking too much shit about KASPA, because I don't like that. And that's about it. You know what I mean? So it's part of my life. So if I didn't have that to do, my life would be less full. So I like having it in my life. It's fun for me.
That's legit. And by the way, we have some comments, people just loving you over here.
Oh,
showing you some love. Yeah, for sure. Wolfie is the legend over here. You're getting all the love. By the way, if anyone has a question for Wolfie over here, Mr. Hype Man. By the way, anyone that is not following Wolfie at all, you need to go to KASPA. What's the word for
They call
the
it underscore, the bottom, not the
underscore?
dash, the
Yeah,
bottom
exactly.
underscore
KASPA underscore hype man. Am I
hype man.
correct?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
cool. So go and subscribe to his and follow him on Twitter because he's an OG over here and he's quite
Thank
helpful. Yeah,
Thanks.
for
Yeah.
sure. Um, Even our Rocky, our lifetime member, is loving you over here. You're getting the love, man.
Right on. Thanks, man.
Or
Thanks,
yeah,
Rocky.
yeah, yeah. Well, someone over here, I'm not sure I can read this language, is saying lately it seems like the crypto market is starting to demand fundamental and real performance, much
That's
like the stock market. I feel like the shift happened, after Hyperliquid. Um, I have something to say about that, but I would love to hear your take about it. What do you think about it, Wolfie?
Yeah, so this is absolutely true. There's guys on YouTube and Twitter, and they're saying we're looking for projects. The new narrative is projects that have revenue, like generate the networks doing a job and generating something. So, and you guys had asked me earlier, and I didn't cover it yet until this now. That what is KASPA? What else do we have coming? That's maybe something cool. So we've heard, we know there's a protocol upgrade called Dagnite, and then there's something called vProgs, which will run on top of the Dagnite foundation that's implemented in probably about 6 months. But simultaneously, Mr. Y published a few months ago something called the coordination market. So he gave a speech at Oxford, and then he had an article on CoinDesk about coordination market. So it's not the same as a prediction market, but it's this way, and I don't understand it really fully at all. It's something new and cool, and the great thing for me is I came to realize that I shouldn't understand what Mr. Y's ideas are, because if I understand them right out of the gate, then it's not from him and it's not something special. But it's a potential thing. I just urge everybody to look for videos about it or look for online. I'm not going to go into and explain what it really is, but because I'm not an expert whatsoever. But it's a possible use case that could really harness like real demand and generate revenue, like what this guy's talking about with Hyperliquid. Not the same way Hyperliquid does it, but it's something that could be a breakthrough app. It's like a new idea of a killer app that can only be built on KASPA, and that's what he's researching and raising money and starting a lab for. So this is to be on top of KASPA, something that really can grab the world and be used.
Yeah, that's beautiful. A good story or a good use case, let's call it, is always helpful. I guess so, right?
Sure.
I have something to say about. I think the one thing that people are going to look for is not scams, right? So this past cycle, by the way, this past cycle was, in my opinion, very professional type. You didn't had a lot of liquidity. It wasn't easy market at all. Maybe 2023 could have been somewhat easier to hold. Then 2024 came, kind of the beginning was, everything was kind of going in March. But after March, it became very heavy until the inauguration day or the win of Trump. Then you had like a month, and then 2025, basically, if you hodled, you went kind of down, right?
True.
And you said something about how the project needed to go sideways for a while for people to forget the pain, for new people to come and arrive, for everyone that is called, so-called weak hands to kind of sell. By the way, CM and now we call it the neglect phase, right? Neglect can be either a slow move sideways or a move sideways, or also a long move down that is grinding down. And KASPA has had a long grind down, and some was a medium, neglect phase. So I agree with you that some of the pain ish can be subsided, right? But people are going to look for something that is not a scam. And this is a good thing. And I have another thesis, and I want to hear what CM has to say, because by the minute CM's, is going darker in his room. So I want to see that. I
Yeah.
want to see if he's alive, man. Some people are calling him a villain in the comments. My thesis is that Bitcoin OGs, the ones that really held through all these years, they sold the top around $100,000. A lot of them sold, and they're looking for the next non-institutionalized coin that they can back, that has big potential for gains, and also ideology, just like Bitcoin was in the past an ideology. They believe it's no longer because it kind of got institutionalized in a sense, and now they're looking for that something else. And a lot, as you said, they spoke about Zcash as potentially, and now it's showing itself. But also, I think that the less obvious one, and that's why it has more potential to go if it does pan out in the long run, is KASPA. And what do you think about that thesis, by the way? And CM, we need the light a little bit, man.
Uh-huh.
Bro, go over, see if anyone have questions from Wolfie, or another dude that is having like a statement like this guy with the hyper liquid. That was interesting.
We have. Don't worry, we're gonna go over it.
All
Oh,
right, because we're now, man. I don't know how much Wolfie looks like a busy guy. I don't know if he can
oh
stay
no,
with that.
I'm cool. Yeah, I'm good, man. Over here, it's not even lunchtime in California, but
All
I
right.
don't want to take up. If you guys are getting way too late at night and you got to crash out too, I understand. So
No,
anytime
we are Caspa Maxes, man. I have all night here, as you can see. I can go take a nap while you're still talking. By the way, guys, everybody
Go
that's
take it.
watching, don't forget to like the video. It's really helped the YouTube algorithm bring more people to the live to hear Wolfie and ourselves. So don't forget to like, leave a comment, ask question. Now we're gonna go over everything, and yeah.
Yeah. So, Jomo, your question, if you were looking for an answer from me, I would say that the thesis of at the bottom and OGs sold the top of Bitcoin or whatever, and they're looking for that the sleeper. You would call that like a sleeper, something with potential. You guys know what a sleeper is? Originally, that came really from a like the hot rod days. A sleeper was like a 60s muscle car that the outside didn't have anything that let you knew that it was really fast, but underneath the hood there was a big strong motor.
Big monster.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, KASPA in a way is kind of a sleeper now. People think, oh, it's dead, whatever. Oh, it's a one-hit wonder. It had its pump, and now it's been going down forever. But like when we were looking at the Zcash chart, let's say to ourselves, when do you think the Winklevoss twins bought? You think they bought last week, or you think they bought last year? Right. So
They
yeah.
bought last year on the pump. They started the pump. But by the way,
Yeah.
just to add something to the sleeper coin, I think KASPA is looking very similar to the bear market of Bitcoin 2015 and 2014. 2014 it went down. 2015
Yeah.
it went sideways. Till October.
Uh-huh.
October it broke out of the accumulation range and start running. It's exactly the same. It's exactly what KASPA is doing. If KASPA is doing now a breakout, let's say now August, maybe September, breakout of the range, man, that's identical move to the Bitcoin 15, 16 bear. Sorry, 14, 15 bear. And what it means KASPA will do a 16, 17 Bitcoin bull run. That can be nice. That could be another 100x because Bitcoin did 100x on 2016, 2017, 2 years. So maybe KASPA is about to do that. Oh boy,
that would be fantastic.
Now I really like CM. I really But
when
yeah,
CM gets
that's my
his
boy.
bull glasses, then he knows how to bring the
Yeah.
bull.
So
And by the way, the same dude is saying something smart, as the BizDev guy, let's call it. He's saying that when you think on Ethereum, you immediately think of smart contracts and DeFi. Solana brings memes to mind, and Zcash is strongly associated with privacy. Each of them has a clear narrative or theme. And then he continues, he said, KASPA needs something like that, right? A theme, a catalyst that immediately comes to mind when people hear KASPA. I'm an exclusive KASPA holder. That's what he's saying. Shout out to Mr. Shang. So I'm genuinely concerned about the lack of an ecosystem.
that's
Speed alone won't be enough to attract people anymore.
this guy is smart guy, man. This guy is smart guy.
Maybe you need to take him under his wing for marketing.
Bring him on the live stream, Mr. Shangshan. Come to the live stream next week if you want to join, but only if you have following. If you don't have following, so.
But wait, what would you say to that, Wolfie?
I would say, well, he's absolutely right. However, the platform for creating an ecosystem has only been activated on KASPA, just the beginning stage. Like the first gear of the ecosystem platform capability just came out June 30th. So it's been like 6 weeks. Okay.
Yeah.
Then there's second gear. Then there's third gear. There's Dagnite. There's VProgs. And like I mentioned, this guy may or may not be aware of Mr. Y's Nintendo concept with the coordination markets. That's just one thing that can come out on it. But there's already decentralized gambling games on here. There's the chat thing on here. Those are kind of proof of concept and maybe not going to take over the world. But sooner or later, somebody's going to come up with something that really harnesses the unique technical capabilities of the block tag with all of the bells and whistles activated, I believe.
Yeah. Well, you can also say that he's wrong in the saying that we need something else because, Google wasn't the first search engine either, right? It was the Alta Vista one, and no one knows what Alta Vista is. Google ate the shit out of it, right? So if KASPA is going to be the fastest money, and who knows, AI agents are going to need money. That's the next narrative, right? Everyone is talking like it's buzzing. The buzz is about the agentic ecosystem and how they will pay each other. And right now, this is all the rage, or at least in some circles, that's being pushed as a narrative. If they choose KASPA,
exactly, yeah. I would be I would say there's some large slice of that market for the AI agents. Some big piece of the pie gets cut out and taken by like huge institutions. They could be like Circle with Solana, like USDC on Solana, or the JP Morgan network with blah, 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 like kind of stuff that has nothing to do with crypto, totally them controlling it stuff. But there's always going to be those underground guys doing their own AI thing, and they're going to want to use something that's like, dude, nobody's shutting off my agent's AI, my AI agent's address either. And there's no centralization whatsoever on KASPA, so I want to use that instead, right?
For sure, and that's about right what I think. Let's go on some more comments. Let's see what we have over here. KASPA with Solana's market cap. When people use Solana to trade the Trump casino meme coin, could not handle the traffic and network of the demand of volume trade. KASPA is the solution. Let's go, Mr. Quasar.
Yeah.
Some more of your people, man, are saying the Dagnite is 100 blocks per second.
That's
is that like a super Ferrari?
Yeah, that's and it activates capabilities. Yet another category I'm not fully informed on, but there's things that can only happen once you have 100 blocks per second, like new properties of a very ultra fast block tag that only become possible. One of them I know for sure is MEV resistance. So if you've heard the term MEV, MEV, I think it stands for maximum extracted value or minor extracted value. It's like a middleman, like on a trade, like DeFi trades. It's like inserting myself in between. This guy wants to sell for this much. This guy wants to buy this much. I buy it cheap really quick, and then I sell it to this guy for more. That's called MEV. So MEV resistance, or the ability to have trades not be middlemanable, is a property that Mr. Y researched at Harvard, and it's gonna be activated when we get to 100 blocks per second. Beyond that, I'm not super sure, but anybody really interested can research it. And it's by this point along the development of KASPA, we're used to hearing like vaporware promises of blockchains and proof of stake systems that promise they're coming out with something. These guys, Mr. Y and Sutton, the lead developer, and the other guys, coder of stuff, they don't talk about stuff and say it for marketing hype. They're not suit guys in a board meeting thinking of ways they can trick people into putting money on fantasy land stuff. They're telling you real stuff that's really from the land of academia, not from the land of Wall Street,
Yeah. And that's really that's what we like in crypto, right? Unless it's an SBF Sam Bankman-Fried type person, then we don't like him at all.
Yeah.
We don't like him. Mr. Caesar is saying, great to see you, Wolfie. I think Caspians shouldn't attack Bitcoin. Both complement each other. I wasn't aware that's a thing. Is that a thing?
Well, there's been an ongoing beef between some real maxis. It's not. I don't think anybody has really any Caspian really can refute that Bitcoin was the OG one. It started the whole thing, right? It's cool, man. I mean, it's the whole world knows it. Anybody knows the symbol. There's 5-year-old kids know the Bitcoin logo around the world. You know what I mean? It's
It's
great.
the daddy.
It is. It's the daddy. We love it, you know. And people get jealous when markets pump and Bitcoin goes first. I tell them, look, when you go to the restaurant with the whole family, right? You hold the door open, and Grandpa gets to walk in the restaurant first with his walker, right? And then everyone else gets to go in after him. You know, yeah. Bitcoin can go first. It's fine. It's the OG, right? But
100%.
some KASPA army people, I mean, I'm sorry, Bitcoin army. There's some hardcore maxis. They're part of this whole like thing that they have their brains wrapped in, and dude, they're like, everything goes to zero against Bitcoin. You know, those guys. Like, it's a fucking shitcoin. It's a fucking scam. It's real shitcoin. You know, they're like hardcore yelling, dude. They're yelling more than that on like a Spaces like about a year ago, like cooking out. You know what I mean? So arguing with those guys, it's a waste of time still, but
For sure.
yeah, but I don't think anybody in KASPA really attacks Bitcoin. I've said, you know, dude, when Bitcoin came out in 2009, it was remarkable. Even through the early teens and the mid-teens, it was still pretty remarkable that you could have this money that you can send to anyone, and like, yeah, the address, and there's miners. It was remarkable, you know. But by now, to have to wait for something on the internet that takes 10 minutes that's not remarkable at all. It's not even really. I like, if you're buying a boat, maybe a yacht or like a mansion in Spain or something, then you could use Bitcoin. It doesn't matter. You know, it clears by have the family office check the blockchain, you know, the Explorer, and see if, you know, my 340 Bitcoins came in. I'll be on the golf course. Just let me know tomorrow. That's fine, you know. But if you're doing something else, you know, it's 10 minutes is too long, you know. So
yeah. Wow.
50
Casper
cents.
Jones is asking, is the 50
Jose,
cents possible this year?
Jose, let me tell you, rule number one in crypto, anything can happen in crypto, okay? Anything can happen. It could also be half a penny, bro. You know what I mean? I don't want to hear it myself even say that, but it's not impossible. Anything can happen in crypto, you know? It really can. Look at Doge. Look at the all-time chart of Doge and see if you can guess where Elon mentioned Doge for the first time.
A long time ago.
Yeah. Anything can happen in crypto, you know? Doge went to 70 cents, right, when he mentioned it, I think, right? So, yeah, anything can happen. I mean, yeah, bro. Bessent, you know, I mean, I'm sorry, not Bessent. Warsh, Kevin Warsh, the Fed chairman, he could come and give his speech next week in like 4 or 5 days and say, like, you know what, you guys are right. Let's just drop interest to 1%, you know, and Bitcoin's going to be 275K, KASPA could be 75 cents, and ETH could be 12 or 14 grand. Like that, it's not likely, but it's not impossible, or something similar. You know, the war could resolve somehow in the next several weeks or a couple months, and you know, the Fed could come around and start like the, you know, easing again, and it's, you never know. Good stuff can happen too. We're so used to, since COVID come out, we're so used to like everything has to be bad news, man. We could get a little good news session here, a good little streak of some good stuff happening for everybody.
100%. 100%. And liquidity will be very good for all of us. We'll love liquidity. And
We will.
by the way, we say this all the time, Wolfie. And, you know, the one thing that CM and I always say is that the news are not the important part of it, right? It's how price reacts to news.
True.
Sometimes, for example, I will tell you one thing. The reason CM and I, for example, we were watching the market closely for a potential breakout, all right? Meaning higher prices rather than down, because, you know, after we all human beings, as human beings, we have something called recency bias. Recency bias, just everyone is like, oh, everything that is recent is more powerful in our psychology, right? But what happened is that I don't know what you thought about Michael Saylor. We didn't talk about that, but the entire bull run, CM and I included, talked about it multiple times. The narrative was that when Michael Saylor starts selling, all hell will break loose.
Yeah.
Right? That was the main thing everyone talked about in the bull market. And then come the bear market, and initially he sold like 2 million bucks, and price fell 20%, right? That's substantial. That means something. But later he sold 200 million, so 100 times more, but yet price didn't go down.
Yeah,
Actually
yeah.
stayed above. So that's a reaction to the news rather than just looking at the news and anticipating what the news means. So that's something that CM and I we do, and it helps quite a lot, right? So what I'm
Sure.
trying to say here is even bad news, if price reacts positively to it, good news for us. Okay,
Sure. If
so
Yeah, that I've seen that stated as a good reliable sign that the bottom is in, or you're near to the bottom. When negative news no longer causes a negative price action. When the market shrugs off. I love that, shrugs off.
shrugs off. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
market bottoms on bad news and tops on good news. That's
Exactly.
exactly what happened now. Market bottomed on sale or dumping, which is a horrible news, man. That might be the bottom, Jomo. Now I'm actually scratching my head, and I'm like, man, maybe we bottom. Maybe this is a reversal now, and you're gonna start. It looks like a reversal, man. If you look on the weekly chart, it
yeah.
looks like a reversal, man. If it's closed the week like that, man, Bitcoin, it's a reversal, man. Like you just need to break the 50-week MA, which is like 1 centimeter. But if you look on the daily, all the moving average, even the 200-day already flattening, man. It's not anymore declining. The 200 is already flattening, which is
Wow.
legendary, man. It's legendary, and also the 50 and the 20 curving up, man. If it stays above the 60, I don't know where the 200. I think it's at 64 or something, which is very far from where we are. If we stay above this price for a couple of weeks, man, we're gonna get a golden cross, and we're gonna get all the moving averages aligning in a bullish alignment, and that's it. That's a bull market, man. Like you're gonna need an apocalypse to send it back to a bear. Really, you need. It's
I love
like
it.
almost impossible to flip the whole chart now and then flip it in a month time back down. It's like almost impossible, Wolfie.
I like the way you describe that, and that's my boy right there. CM's coming to life right now. That was a good real CM clip right there. But yeah, it's almost like if you like the momentum, like when you see these oil tankers, those giant things, that it takes like 3 or 4 miles to stop them, just to get them to stop. So what you're saying is once that 200 starts planing on, starts heading up, like to get it to, it's not just gonna go change my mind. It doesn't do that. It's going
Yeah,
which way it's
and
going.
it just also make me more and more convinced about the bottom is actually in, and which is actually surprising me because
Mhm.
I was actually expecting lower levels on Bitcoin, and like the classic 4-year bear market that will be
Sure.
over in October or in the end of the year, last quarter. But now you have a potential bottom and a reversal in the third quarter of the year of the bear, which is shocking. Like for me, it's shocking because it's actually shattered my belief in my 4-year cycle. Man, it's blown my mind now, and I'm
Sure.
like I have my moon boots on, looking for breakouts, looking for coins, man. Whew.
Yeah. Now
You
you
know,
got
you know, I will give you a sneak peek, guys. I talked about this a month ago. I gave a post on Twitter. I have like a real good moment and I post something on Twitter. And I actually said that this strength we're having in the crypto market is resilience that needs to be very much looked at as strength that, when bad news can't push price down, that tells you the sellers are already out, right?
yeah.
And this was much before all this kind of happened, and it's those clues that help an investor or trader be on top of things. And by the way, at the top, Wolfie, me and CM, we called roughly at 10. We just said, you know what, we for our members, and even on Twitter, we also said that we believe a bear market is coming, and that's why CM also flipped bearish on KASPA
Sure.
in August 24. What happened? What was the trigger? It was a Coinbase, the Coinbase futures. They listed
Kraken, no?
Kraken. Was it
Or
which
or,
one? I
or,
think Wolfie.
or
Which exchange listed perpetuals on July 2024?
I'm not sure. It sounds like maybe Coinbase International.
Yeah,
We've never
yeah,
been on futures in the United States, but
yeah.
for
Exactly. I think that's the one. And
it
it
was the
started.
KRC. It topped on the KRC, I think, on the
KRC,
KRC
yeah.
I
20.
think it was the exchange. Anyway, one of those. Price broke out and fell
Mhm.
back down, right? So
Yeah,
supposedly it was amazing news, beautiful news, but price fell down back into range. So CM immediately put on his bear pants and
which is
created a video.
that's a keen
Uh,
observation, and you definitely get props for that, bro. Yes.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
that's for anyone that comes from your, viewership. We definitely wanted to teach that, right? So you gave our viewers a lot of alpha about KASPA. So we're trying to, we are the price action guys. We're not just the chart guy. We're the price action guys, and we're
Hmm.
the new ones. So we teach that. By the way, anyone that is not following, look what I did, Wolfie. While you were speaking, I created this thing over here. So anyone that is not following Wolfie on Twitter, you can go ahead and scan the QR code. It will take you directly to his account. Follow Wolfie for more Casper related news and for fun things because the one thing I do appreciate, and by the way, anyone that is watching now, subscribe to all the channels and like wherever you are. Do it. Just push. All the Casper army, just push the like and push this forward because we're trying to push the word. But the one fact I do like CM about Wolfie is the fact that he is a mature person and not the wanker. 20 years old somewhere else, right? I was positively surprised by this, and also jacked, and almost max luxing. By the way, I don't know if you know what that is, Wolfie, but you know, that's good. That's a good. What do you think, Sia? We have a winner over here.
Man, I no comment. No comment on this subject. We're gonna move on to the comment
I'm
section. We have
showing the love. I'm showing the love,
no.
man.
Thank you,
I,
buddy.
I
Let,
have a wife. I'm confident about my identity.
yeah. No.
And
It's okay. But we came to talk Caspa. Some people are like, have tattoos, neck tattoos of Caspa. They don't care about nothing else, man. Like so. But tell me why Caspa is not pumping now? Like I don't get it. Like why Caspa is not getting bought by institutions or by the Mr. Y or by why they're not doing like buybacks, if they will do a buyback, buyback like all these the big companies like the Hype and all the DeFi protocols used to do like this buyback, and also the Axie Infinity, if you know them, the gaming crypto went bananas in 2021. They used to do buybacks regularly. That's why their
Mm.
coin went nuclear, man. I never saw anything like that. It went nuclear, like 4 months, 1000x, 4 months, and it was insane. And the thing that went it skyrocket it was they had a buyback and they had a burning mechanism. So the two things were actually shortening the supply out there and increasing the buy pressure. It's if Caspa can do that, Wolfie, that's it. It's going to go to the moon. I'm not sure how they can do that though.
Sure. So we had previously talked about the small list of proof of work coins that were fair launch. So due to having that positive property, one of the capabilities that you mentioned just now, I believe, would be not possible. So furthermore, on top of that, the fair launch means there is no corporation, there's no foundation wallet, so there's nowhere to pay for buying them back from, if that makes sense. So it's like nobody's buying. Sailor's a guy with a publicly traded corporation. He can buy back Bitcoin because he has a giant corporation and he makes stock. He prints paper stock and sells it to somebody or issues debt and pulls a string over here. And then suddenly he has a pile of money in the bank and then he buys Bitcoin and reels it in with money. But nobody's doing that with Caspa right now, unless Wallet One is doing something. So we don't know. You guys know, right? You guys know what that is, right?
Who is Wallet One, man? Who is Wallet One?
We don't know, bro, but it's probably somebody. BitGo. We talked about BitGo already a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Right. So BitGo, they don't just add KASPA because like, hey, they have a big community. Let's add them because the developers are bored and stuff. They do it because somebody big says, hey, we need you to add KASPA. We're already doing these ETFs with you, or we're already parking, $10 billion of Bitcoin with you. So add KASPA.
Do you have like a date? Sorry to bother. Do you have like a date of the BitGo launch, the ETF launch for KASPA? Do you have it?
Not the launch, no. But if you look, you can Google it pretty easily. Their GitHub, their software of all of their stuff that's added already is already on. It's on GitHub. It's public information how all their coins, and so you can put BitGo KASPA GitHub, and you'll see they started adding KASPA support software wise. I think around April, and they continue to work on it. So that's because somebody asked for it in some fashion or paid for it already to happen. And it's probably like $1 million to do that, to get a coin added. So somebody has plans. That's all we can.
Is it gonna be an exclusive KASPA ETF, or is it gonna be part a crypto ETF like KASPA, Bitcoin, and a lot of stuff together?
That we have no idea who the client would be, or it could even be multiple clients that ask for support and what their intent is. It could be as simple as they have a big pile like Wallet One and they just want to have somewhere safe to keep it on BitGo, and then there'll be a little fee every year, like 0.5% to keep, this pile of coins there. Or it could be they're gonna start an ETF and then all of the coins will be kept on BitGo. We just don't know who it is and what their intent is, but it's quite a positive sign that institutional adoption of KASPA is underway. I mean,
this will send the price to the moon, man. The question is when BitGo. That's the question. The question. When BitGo, what you're speculating? You're speculating they're gonna list it this year, next year, 2 years. What are you speculating?
Yeah, so I would say it looks like it's in the works. It may be up to the client's decision of when to activate the KASPA capability. They may say, wait, don't turn it on until we release this ETF or announce something. It's speculation. It's fun, but there's nothing we can really. There's no evidence we have to base anything on other than we know that they're adding the capability and it's probably from somebody that means business,
It's true. That's a speculation. There's also a lot of chatter in the comments about Gemini potentially adding.
Gemini, yeah. So this is a fair question. Now let's play with the bad side first, or the negative, like the hopium side, right? Because it's always fun to end on a good note. So on the hopium side, like we've known, like Binance has had crazy, like in 48 hours, we've had four different hardcore, like winks and nods at KASPA. I think it was about 1.5 years or 2 years ago, but Binance and even CZ they were talking about, somebody in the community will find it. We can post it on Twitter. There's probably threads about it, but they hardcore were winking and referring pretty much to KASPA and nothing ever happened, but Gemini could be just releasing our new top 50 altcoin basket with Zcash and blah blah blah. It could be nothing to do with KASPA easily, or it could be we don't know. So on the positive side, things that would tend to hint that maybe it's possible is they had that acknowledge all things at least once, and they highlighted the K, the A, the S. That could just simply be the intern. The intern could have a view quota. You have to get 5 million views a month, and he's like, dude, just mention KASPA. He used AI. Hey, ChatGPT, how do I need 4.5 million views still this month, or I'm getting fired. Mention KASPA. Like it could be that simple, or it could be that they do have some type of plan. Now, backing up the concept that wallet number one could be the Winklevoss twins / Gemini. The Winks, historically, if you don't know who they are, they were co-founders of Facebook with Zuckerberg. And then Zuck was like, well, I kind of really made the whole thing up, so you guys can have 0 and I'll keep the whole thing. And
Yeah.
so they sued him, and they got hundreds of millions of dollars, if not $1 billion or $2 billion, and they won in court. And they spent a lot of it, a good chunk of it, they spent on Bitcoin. So the Winklevoss twins are quick to realize, crypto like good deals, and they have like 1% of all the Bitcoin. So they're not scared to ape on POW, we can say, and we know they love Zcash. They aped on Zcash, and now they're promoting it. The possibility that they're doing the same thing with KASPA on the down low, and when it's time, they could be. It's possible. I've spoken
The sleeper bag, let's call it.
Yeah. I've spoken to Gemini, and we talked about integration and listing. It was a year or two ago. They weren't super stoked. They weren't reluctant, but it was kind of a downtrend, and they were like, the volume's okay, or whatever. It wasn't a charged thing that went to the next level. But they totally know what KASPA is, absolutely, beyond a shadow of doubt.
Is it a lot of politics to try and debate and kind of rebuttal with exchanges about listing, or is it about money?
Yeah, so that's why some people didn't like that I chose to call myself director of business development. But early on, in the old days, I would start talking to an exchange, and you would get these like 25 or 30-year-old guys. Some of the Asian exchanges, they're like, we make a room, we somehow get connected. We make a private group on Telegram, and then I'm in there, and they're like, are you C-level? They tell me. They ask me, am I C-level? Like, am I a corporate officer?
Yeah. That's what they need.
Talking to a decentralized thing. Who was the C-level when you guys added Bitcoin that you spoke to at Bitcoin? Was Satoshi in the room when you added Bitcoin? So after a while, I got tired of explaining that there is none, and I just decided to give myself a listing that would make people a title that would make people think they're talking to the right guy right out of the gates. So anyway, we as KASPA, like we were talking about, there's no foundation wallet, there's no corporation giant bank account to write checks for things to happen, and there's no free tokens out of thin air that we can give. We can't give Binance 5 or 10% so that they list the token the first day it comes out. So therefore, our price has pretty much been zero all the time. So I have to open the bidding starting with the big zero number, $0. That's how much we pay for integrations and listings, Now, there have been exceptions along the way. I think on MEXC, we paid like $50,000. We did a little crowd fund, and we put a little liquidity. That was a 30-day loan. Then maybe on KuCoin might have been $50,000. And after that, they were pretty much free. Once in a while, we'll put $5,000 or $3,000 of coins for a little marketing campaign or a little contest or something. But generally zero. Like Kraken was literally $0. And when Kraken announced that they listed us, that was their largest tweet. It's probably true still to this day. I think it was like 1.4 million views when they said, finally, Kaz. It was like a word search puzzle, and everything was Kaz. They listed this KASPA spot is listed, it's turned on, and that was their biggest tweet of all time. So we definitely get our community is crazy. You guys know, sometimes they can be annoying, but they mean well and they love the project. And that's another thing. You were talking about narratives. That's another thing that whales and VCs look for. Who's the biggest, loudest on Twitter in a bear market will give you an idea of what's going to definitely at least go up pretty good, and we have it cornered pretty good this bear market. I mean, this whole last 5 years, we've been pretty loud on Twitter. So we got a really good shot at being famous, staying famous, and getting even more famous when the money comes back,
100%. That's really good. Really good. Look, guys, I think we're going on for an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Quite good and quite substantial. CM, anything else you want to ask Wolfie over here?
Let's see if anyone have any other question before we wrap it up, because we don't do this often, so we should give a few more minutes, maybe, because there is always the people that remember things after. So give them a few more minutes. If they have any question for Mr. Wolfie, drop it now, guys, and we look at it. Did you look on the question, Jomo, or anything? You see anything?
Yeah, there's so many. I looked at all the questions. Nothing seems substantial, and we kind of covered everything by the questions that we asked. Basically, most people are just saying how Caspa is a fair launch, how about it's decentralized. That's the main thing about crypto, that it's decentralized, and that's why it's hard also, right? It's hard to push it into these sectors because it's decentralized and so on and so forth. So basically we went over everything. So yeah. um I'm gonna ask one last question, Wolfie, and then
All right.
we're gonna, if someone else has a question. Yeah, I posted this a couple of days ago. Do you think this is gonna be, in hindsight, like a year or two from today, is this gonna be the most legendary call ever? What do you think? I said, for all the CASP enthusiasts, you have a rare chance of accumulating very close to potential bottom, right? And I said this is an asymmetric risk to reward, potentially buying around the 2.7 cents. Is this going to be legendary or a fake out?
I'm all in on Caspa, so I have to go with legendary. And really, even if it's a fake out, I believe the fake out will be momentary. I believe liquidity is returning to the markets. Washington D.C., the wealthiest country in the world. It has people in the capital of the country in Washington D.C. talking about how to make crypto legal in America. You have things that have never happened before. I mean, all of the magic tricks of price that we remember from the teens and well into the early 2020s happened when there was a war on crypto. Dude, they were trying to blast it dead, and that's not happening anymore. They're trying to help it, help it push
Yeah.
up, pops, new levels. Let's go up, let's do more, So with that in mind, even if it goes to a penny and a half or to 2 cents or 2.2 cents for a day, a couple days or a couple weeks or a month and a half, it's not going to be forever or keep going down forever. I don't believe so. I think everything's looking good. Then I wanted to ask you guys one more question. So
Yeah, let's go.
some people are a little, they keep their details, personal life and personal details, like not online too much, and which is fine if you guys don't want to answer. I've always been curious where you guys are at in the world. And then, I've been around the world on the behalf of CASPA in the last 2 years to all over the place, man. And I've met people on most continents now. And, you guys are cool cats. You're my bros from far away now. You're on my list of my boys now. You know what I mean? So it would be fantastic for me to meet up with you guys sooner or later somewhere, some convention, somewhere Europe. You seem like some type of European guys, but I have no idea where. Or you could be in Dubai. Maybe a lot of people, crypto people, go to Dubai now. So yeah.
Yeah, CM and I, I'm Argentinian by descendants, so I'm going to stay in Spanish land. We're in Spain. You can come visit in Spain.
Amazing.
Um, but yeah, that's something we would love, actually. Let's talk on private if we get somewhere close. And if we're going to get to the States, we can, give you a call. And
Absolutely.
in between, I think this is something we can do every now and then. Just
Yeah.
hop on this live, bring you on some when you have some juicy news, something like an
Yeah.
insider type thing. We are guys over here. We're, as we said, we are chart guys. We're price action guys, but we love a good fellow, a good person, someone that is as enthusiastic about um, new things, beautiful things, good lifestyle. All right, you
Yeah.
seem like you're in a good lifestyle kind of guy,
Thanks.
meaning family guy. In the goods, let's call it. So we're gonna do it again. That would be awesome. A few last things we're gonna have from. I'm gonna give a shout out to some of the people that are kind of asking questions in the end. Someone asked, why no more fundraisers? You can give us,
Sure.
if you want to answer that.
Sure. So, my experience with life is, when things get tough, people don't like to contribute when their bags are already getting smaller overall. So, that 2 year down slope, that makes it rough all the way around, especially for some of the more junior, accumulators stacking coins of any type. You don't want to really be asking people for their bags getting smaller. They're working hard at their day job. They're selling their junk from the garage and the attic, trying to get a little more coins, and then asking them to give away a couple months of pay or a couple of weeks of pay for some idea, isn't really great. Now, on the flip side, bro, when stuff starts turning green, man, and you're on the stairway to heaven, then everybody, woohoo, yeah, let's do it. Yeah, you know what I mean? So I think the fundraisers are coming back here shortly. Yeah, we'll see. But
let's go.
Yeah.
Let's
but,
go.
Yeah, it's not great etiquette, or it's not really good. And spending money on a downtrend for marketing, advertising, people complain.
Maybe we can find the number one wallet, and maybe he can do a fundraise.
yeah, or maybe number one's going to tell us who he is.
Hey, number one, if you're in the crowd listening over here, you should, give Wolfie a shout out. Maybe you can help KASPA with some fundraising. Jai is asking you, what's the single point of failure for KASPA? Do you have any?
I would say just it would be a slow grind of it just never latches on to like a real use case. Like it's kind of underground and
what the fuck? You don't need even to answer this. This question is dumb as fuck, because if the guy had a little brain, he would look on the top 10,000 scam coins and he will ask the same question, and how they are not failing. You have absolute shit show over there, cats with a coin, some dude from a basement create a coin out of his thin ass, people creating coins out of nowhere. You're talking about KASPA? Come on, man. First of all, go over all the scams, then come to KASPA or Bitcoin, or the proof of work. Proof of work is actually coins with something behind them. They have something fundamentally true. All right. I don't think this question is relevant, because when you have 10,000 scam coins that survived already 10 years, like
the Dogecoin, the first meme coin ever.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Move on, man. Move on. This is not a.
I love it. Hey, Wolfie, I think we should take CM, and he needs to work a little bit on the biz dev. He has the best answers. He doesn't give a fuck.
CM rocks. We love CM.
Yeah, man. I wanted to give some of the people some more love, asking questions so they can feel good. But anyways, we had a beautiful time. I think we had good questions over here. This is good for today. All the good questions for next time for Wolfie. Keep them, write them down in your journal, guys, and we'll make sure Wolfie come back again. Wolfie, I want to say thank you for jumping on the show. We had a blast. Anyone that doesn't follow Wolfie, scan the QR code. Wolfie the cat over here. He has a lot of good insights. He's a good lad, good person, which is
Wolfie,
very rare in crypto.
Why cat, Wolfie? Why cat? Why not a wolf?
Why cat?
Yeah. So it's funny. In the 20 teens, when I got back in 2017, especially back then, it was since there was the war on crypto. Many people were not doxing themselves with their own picture as a screen, avatar. So there was cats all over the place, and that's my actual cat. So I'll tell you guys a super quick, funny story. So you guys know Uphold. Uphold was the first exchange in the United States to list us. So getting to know those guys through the listing process and everything, the head of trading I got to know, and he let me know he would be in town down here in Southern California on a little family trip, and maybe we can hang out. So he's like, maybe we can get coffee. I'm like, well, I got a house right on the beach. You can see the ocean. Come to my house, man. We got a great house for entertaining. So I tell him the address, and he pulls up and he parks in our driveway outside. I open the door, and the cat runs out. And he goes, oh, I got the right place. He recognized the cat. So yeah. So the cat gets paid in tuna for using his picture on Twitter, So we bring him home tuna from the sushi restaurant. He goes,
that's good. You pay him rewards. I love it. Yeah. Pay him KASPA. He needs to retire wealthy. That's good. That's actually a very joyful story. That's good. All right, everyone. Thank you very much for tuning in. This was us. This was Wolfie. Until next time, everyone. No edge, no trade.
Thanks, you guys. Yeah, it's great to be here. We'll do it again soon. All right.
Thank you, Wolfie.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks, guys.